Hey guys, let's go ahead and do chapter 1.3, the process of a statistical study. So let's go ahead and look at it. Alright, when you're conducting a statistical study, the first thing you want to do is determine the design of the study. And you're going to ask questions like, what are you going to study? You got to determine your population and variables, and then you got to determine your sampling method. The second step is you got to collect the data. The third step is to organize the data, and then the fourth step is to analyze the data to answer the question. So those are the 4 steps. So let's look at one. We're going to identify the population of variables. Neurologists want to study the effects of vitamin C on nerve disorders. The goal of the study is to see if taking an IV dose of vitamin C will reduce the amount of nerve pain recorded by patients. Identify the population of interest and the variables in the study. Okay? Well, we know that they were looking at reducing nerve pain in patients with nerve disorders. So the population would be patients with these types of orders. We're not going to look at other kind of patients with like diabetes or anything like that. We're going to be very specific. So the variables will be the amount of vitamin C and the amount of nerve pain each patient reports. There's other variables you can take, but those are the 2 main ones that you're going to look at. An observational study observes the data that already exists. An experiment generates data to help identify cause and effect relationships. So let's see if it's an observational study or an experiment. You want to determine the average age of college students across the country. And a researcher wishes to determine if flu shots actually help prevent severe cases of the flu. So the first one is an observational study would be used because you can just get the existing records of college students and determine the average age. We do this at Georgia Highland every semester to see what our average age is for students. And then B, an experiment would be needed to use in order to establish a cause and effect relationship between flu shots and flu prevention. So you'd have a group that has the flu shot and you'd have a group that does not have the flu shot. And then based on that you would see if they get the flu or not. A representative sample means that you're going to have the same relevant characteristics as the population and it doesn't favor another group from the population over another. So when it's really important when you start taking samples that you take the right sample. So to take a representative sample, you want to make sure that your sample you take has the same kind of population, has the same kind of characteristics in your population, and that you're not putting like more younger people than older unless that's how your population truly is. So let's look at the different types of sampling technique. Okay, census. Every member of the population is included. Remember we went over this in 1.1, so think about the U.S. Census. We try to get everybody in the United States population. Random sample. Every member has an equal chance of being selected. Stratified sample. You break the population into groups called strata, and then you choose the same number from each strata. So as you can see here, we took 1 from the freshman class, 1 from the sophomore, 1 from the junior, 1 from the senior. Okay? Clusters pretty much like strata, but you break the population into clusters, and then you take whole clusters. So look, they took class 3 and 4 as opposed to 1 person from each class. That's the difference between clusters and stratified. Systematic means you take every nth member of the population. Here they're taking every 4th member. Convenience. It's a sample that's convenient for the researcher to select. So you can go, all right, I'm going to go stand outside the Student Center and ask everybody who comes up who they voted for in the last election. That's a convenient sample. All right, let's see which kind of sampling technique we would use. A pollster surveys 50 people in each of the senators' 12 voting precincts. Okay, so they're going to take 50 people from each of the precincts. So that is going to be stratified. Okay, because we took their 12 precincts and 50 people and 50 from each, okay? And I'm going to put people, it's going to run off the page from each. Okay? From each. each precinct. Okay, I hope that helps for that once that's stratified. The quality control department at a cereal manufacturer measures the weight of every 10th box off the assembly line. Because it's the 10th box, that's systematic. Okay. All right, I'm going to erase these two so we can look at the other ones down the back. Okay, C. A female student walks down the halls in her dorm asking students how much money they would have to spend in the food court in the dorm lobby in an effort to persuade the administrator to offer such an option. This is convenient because she just went down the hall asking people. Okay? Do you need more explanation there? Oh, here's more. Okay. An educator chooses 5 of the school districts in the Chicago area and asks each household in these districts how many school-age children are in the home. Okay, that's really easy because we have, let's see, we have 5 school districts and every person, every household is asked. So this is cluster. Okay. To determine who will win a $100,000 shopping spree at a mall, the manager draws a name out of the box of entries. Just like the lottery, guys. This is a random. Oops. See, I just saw that random sample. Okay. All right. So we already looked at those, and there's the answers if you need more. All right. So we're going to talk about cross-sectional and longitudinal. Okay, cross-sectional study is data that's collected at a single point in time. A longitudinal study, it's data gathered by a particular group over a long period of time. They do this a lot more now with drug studies. So what they'll do is, if you get into a drug trial, they'll look at your, say they'll look at your blood pressure. They'll look at your blood pressure at the beginning, and then they'll take your blood pressure maybe every week that you come in and take the drug that they're giving you. So they might have your blood pressure for 3 months at a time. That's a longitudinal study. A meta-analysis is a study that compiles information from previous studies. And then a case study looks at multiple variables that affect a single event. So you might want to play with those because sometimes those can be kind of tricky in your mind. Okay, so let's keep going. All right. The rest of this is just definitions, and you might want to go ahead and read up these on your own. There's like treatment, subject participation, principles for an experimental design, control group, experiments, and then towards the end you're going to have IRB and informed consent. For those definitions, I would read over them and practice them hawks because it's all about how you do an experiment and how you design it. So I hope this has helped. Thanks.